This is the Louie T Network.
Man, I love some football. Man, I love some football. My favorite week is week 1, cause I'm watching football. First comes the preseason, and I don't take a day off. And then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. We in the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Of course, welcome to the program. Week number 1, National Football League. The Oakland Raiders taking on the Jets in New York or New Jersey for that matter. So this was a matchup between two teams looking to gain some traction with young quarterbacks. The Oakland Raiders starting their rookie second-round draft choice, Derek Carr. Meanwhile, the New York Jets are starting season 2 of Geno. Oh, Geno. Oh, Geno Smith, and hoping that he can start to gain his footing and traction in this league and start to play more competent and confident football in New York as their starting quarterback. So let's break down this game and talk about how the Jets were able to be victorious against the Oakland Raiders in week number 1. So big 44-yard return by Salim to start this game off, and he's extremely fast. That kid has a lot of speed to burn. You saw a little bit of it on display on that return to kick this game off. However, penalties and a dropped touchdown by Greg Salas in the end zone yields a 45-yard field goal by the Jets, and they take a 3-0 lead. And what you will find in this game is that the Jets made a lot of mistakes that made this game a lot closer than it should have been. Wally Vett, Uncle Charles, picks off Geno Smith. It leads to a 9-yard Rod Streeter touchdown. Raiders assume the lead at 7-3 in this ball game. We move on to the second quarter. Geno Smith takes his team all the way down the field to the Raiders' 2-yard line, where he then fumbles. Great hit by TJ Carey down at the 2-yard line, forcing the ball loose. Raiders recover. That's something Geno Smith has to work on. He has a penchant for fumbling the football, especially down close by the goal line. He has to take better care of the football. And sometimes you just got to know when to fold up and get down and protect the football. Geno Smith seems to not know how to do that quite yet. He fumbled the football, took some points off the scoreboard. Big play by the Raiders to preserve the lead at the time. Calvin Pryor drops a pick 6. Look, young fella, it doesn't get much easier than that. The 4-car, Derek Carr, throws you a gift, an absolute gift-wrapped pick 6. You got to take that and deposit it in the end zone. Went right through his hands. It doesn't get much easier than that. And I understand that as a defensive back, you don't often get the ball thrown exactly to you right in your hands, right in your numbers. But you got to catch the football, young fella. You got to catch that football and take it the other way. And so, another missed opportunity by this Jets football team. Jets put together another lengthy drive that ends in a 4-yard CJJ. And remember, he's no longer C2K. He's CJJ. Chris Johnson, the Jet. 4-yard shovel pass for a touchdown. It's now 10-7 as the Jets reassume the lead in this ball game. That takes us to the half. Jets up 10-7. We move on to the third quarter. 40-yard kickoff return by Latavius Murray to start off the second half gives the Raiders a little bit of confidence and a little bit of momentum into that drive. However, it is wasted as MJD has one of the weirdest fumbles you will see. And there were two weird fumbles in week one. One in Miami by Lamar Miller, the other by Maurice Jones-Drew. He gets hit, flips in the air, ball goes shooting up into the air. Great hit by Quentin Coples to jar the football loose. Of course, that thwarts that drive for the Raiders. They get nothing out of it. Geno Smith then takes his team down the field once again. He fumbles again. And I talked about him having a fumbling issue. He fumbles again, but this time he's able to salvage the drive by getting on the football. Leads to a 45-yard Nick Folk field goal. It's now 13-7 as we enter the fourth quarter. Geno Smith sacked after a promising drive and is pushed out of field goal range. This was a bad sack by Geno Smith. You can't make a bad play worse by backing up. Okay, so there's nothing there. You can't find anything. You can't escape. You've got to find a way to get rid of the football. You kept backing up until you couldn't back up any longer. And you took a long sack that took you guys out of field goal range. Again, taking points off the scoreboard. That's a no-no in the National Football League. 71-yard touchdown gallop by Chris Ivory puts this one on ice. The Jets dominated this game. That gave them a 19-7 lead at the time. Raiders score a late touchdown, try to make things interesting late, but this game was done. 19-14 is your final score. This was a game that the Jets dominated. Really start to finish. The Raiders had that one moment where Charles Woodson picks off Geno Smith. They get in the end zone and take that lead. Maybe as a Raiders fan at that point you thought maybe we could steal one. But for the most part, the Jets dominated this game. They really made this game a lot harder on themselves than it needed to be. This should have been a 31-14 outcome, not a 19-14 outcome. All the mistakes, all the Geno Smith sacks, the interception that he threw, the fumble down at the 2-yard line, the sacks pushing this team out of field goal range, Greg Solis dropping a touchdown pass. All of these mistakes, Calvin Pryor dropping a pick six, all of these mistakes made this game much closer than it should have been. If you're the Jets, you're not good enough as a football team to allow points to be taken off the scoreboard, to allow opportunities to be missed to put points on the scoreboard. Greg Solis, got to catch the football. Calvin Pryor, got to have that pick six. Geno Smith can't fumble at the 2-yard line, can't fumble in drives, can't take sacks that take you out of field goal range. All of these things made this game closer than it needed to be. But at the end of the day, you still got it done. You got the W. If you're the Jets, there's just some things you got to clean up. But you'll clean them up gladly with a W. If you're the Raiders, this was a very, very safe start for Derek Carr. You didn't want to put him in harm's way per se. And so what you basically did in this game is you made everything simple for him. You simplified the playbook. You simplified everything that you did. It was short passes, nothing really deep down the field. And I want to see you take the shackles off this young fella. I understand what you were doing in that first game. Tough defense on the road. I get it. You wanted to make sure he was upright, that he didn't get beat to a pulp. I get it. I understand. But at some point, got to take the training wheels off the young fella and let him fly. You got to let this young fella spread his wings and fly. And maybe week one isn't the exact time for that. I understand. I get it. But again, you're not going to win many games throwing about 25 passes 5 yards and in to the line of scrimmage. Not really going to challenge defenses that way. You're not going to score a lot of points in this league that way. So Raiders 0-1 on the season. Jets 1-0. Big win for the New York Jets as they get their season started off on the right foot with a 14-19 victory. That's going to do it for this breakdown. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the L.A.B room. I'll see you in a bit. I've got plenty more games to break down in week number 1 of the National Football League. See you in a bit.